empty cup. Just crack a smile and fill it up. Fill it up.
Welcome to After the Final Pour. I'm one of your hosts, Tony Golick, joined always with
Brandon Winninger.
And in the way back about 9 feet away from us,
Clark Fettridge.
and joining us for the first time on and After the Final Pour,
Danny Polly.
nice lean into the mic. See, no.
He needs
Yeah, you're actually okay because that's why we gave
Move it
you
closer.
the mic. It's
Move
okay,
it
you can
closer.
move it.
Yeah.
Everybody likes hearing the sound of a dragging microphone across a bar when they're listening to a podcast. You speak low enough where it's not, you've got the right mic for this. In fact, my voice is being picked up on that mic terribly right now. But that's. Anyways, that's not why we're here. We're not talking about the schematics and how this show is done. And nobody cares about that, right?
Right.
Thanks, Clark. Clark, what are we drinking? Because you brought it, baby.
We did, as you said on one of the previous shows, during my hockey dad days, I get to go out to many, many faraway suburbs. And the perk of doing that is getting to stop at many, many breweries that I would never, ever drive to. And this time, I was in Darien, Illinois, right next to Downers Grove, and I went to Alter Brewing. Very nice little brewery. So from there, I brought HVAC, a bourbon barrel-aged barley wine with hazelnut, vanilla, and coffee.
You don't have to talk so loud.
No,
Seriously.
I like it. Oh, because of the...
It's Peaky.
It's been so long, I wanted to make sure everyone could hear me.
Peaky McPeaker over here.
Yeah, we can actually still hear you, though, if you're
Yeah.
okay.
Oh.
Clark
fine.
is pretty far away from us as we're doing this. But you do seem very enthusiastic about, being back, man.
It's so great to be back.
It's nice to have you back.
6 months.
Although
No.
Brandon and I have gotten used to not having you around, that he and I have become closer and we've bonded more than ever. I think people recognize that in the show. Dan, you're an avid listener. What do you think?
The chemistry has definitely improved.
This, right off the bat, it smells like coffee, kind of like cold brew coffee. That was the first thing I got. Did you say this is barrel aged or is it just a barley wine?
Bourbon barrel aged.
Bourbon barrel aged. Interesting. I'm going for another sip
12%.
Yeah, the coffee does come through 100%.
Yeah.
And then I do get, when we talk about barley wines, I do get that barley wine-esque, I don't know. I feel like barley wine has a chewiness. I don't, whatever. But it's got that caramel and the sugar, all that you just feel in the back of your your jaw, and it comes through pretty good with this. I enjoy this.
Yeah, it's solid. It's not the thickest barley wine, but it's got
No.
a thinness to it, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
Tastes good.
I don't get a ton of barrel. I was kind of surprised. That's why I asked if it was barrel aged. But it is kind of hot and boozy, like a barley wine. But the sweetness of it's nice. I get more coffee, maybe a little bit of vanilla. I don't think I'm getting any hazelnut. You guys getting any hazelnut?
Not yet.
No, and I wonder. I don't want to say that's a temperature thing because this is pretty
Yeah, it's not. It's not ice cold.
It's not ice cold. No.
Although when I burp, it does taste like hazelnuts. I'm not joking. That's a real
We'll wait.
thing.
We'll keep recording till we all burp.
Yeah, if you guys want, I can get some fizzy water.
Yeah. But that's weird because having hazelnut in the beer, you would think it would be a prominent flavor, and my golden go-to that I've always wanted to try and I never got to at Fobab was Natulu that Goose Island had done, which was their Nutella hazelnut version of Bourbon County. Mm-hmm. And it was only released at Fobab a couple of times, and I think maybe once or twice at the tap room, and I was never available to get it, but man, that's my dream beer.
It was probably better than our attempt at doing the French press with the very old Ferrero Rochers in a regular Bourbon County.
We should have just used Nutella at that point.
It's true. We should have.
I was gonna say, I remember when they did the Cthulhu, and then they also had a candy cane Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody told me about these.
Yeah,
It was Clybourne before the ABV.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
why.
just done this weird series, and I don't want to say weird. It was great, and I missed out on it. So when I have a beer and I see that there's hazelnut in there, my first thing is I'm going to look for it, and if I don't get it, But as I sit here and talk, even in the back of my tongue, I'm getting a little hazelnutness.
Teeny bit.
Which is great, but not what I want when I drink it. Like, I want to taste it when I drink it. So
You want more of an upfront hazelnut.
of course,
Well, I'm sure some of the coffee's kind of hiding the hazelnut a little bit too, because coffee's pretty
coffee's prominent. and,
pretty
like, just
prominent, roasty.
almost kills. I don't want to say kills everything, but like it goes to the forefront, and then it'll complement other flavors like chocolate or cinnamon and things like that. But
Well, Dan just burped. I want to know if he tasted hazelnut.
I did not, but I am tasting hazelnut on the aftertaste. I was gonna say
we
I
go.
felt like I smelled. You know, like you get green pepper on coffee beers sometimes.
Yeah.
Initially, when it
Sometimes.
was first poured.
we've talked about this
Numerous times.
in extents.
Yeah, when it was first poured, I got green pepper, but I think that's gone now. I was gonna ask Clark if this was like how old this was.
Yeah.
I bought it just under 2 months ago, but
Okay.
whoever has
That's
the
not
bottle
too
up
old.
there, is there anything on
Yeah, that shouldn't
Mark?
be too old. That shouldn't be old enough to
Yeah,
get
no.
And
that
I'm not
green
finding
pepper.
anything
But
online.
I don't think the coffee's dropped off at all. I think that
No.
us talking about how it's hiding everything else sort of speaks to that it's probably new. I was just curious.
it looks like possibly April or early spring. it
Yeah,
came
but
out.
even at that, I would find that hard to like.
There's no date on here.
Yeah.
You know, breweries, come on. Let's throw some dates on bottles, please, so I know when I'm
I mean,
supposed to be drinking these.
and I'm being honest, especially hoppy beers, pale ales, or IPAs, I look at the date all the time.
Absolutely.
And if it's anywhere past 3 months, I'm like,
3 months, and man, I feel like a real snob because once I see 3
Yeah,
months, I'm like,
yeah.
sorry, that's too old for me.
Sometimes when I'm at Jewel, I just look at dates just for the fun of it. Even
Oh,
if
for
I'm not
sure.
buy anything.
There's some where I let out an audible
We talked
laugh.
about
I'm like,
this.
what is this still doing
Yeah,
here?
we have talked about this a few times.
Yeah.
Like
Especially
that-
with like the Rhine guy stuff that you found.
yeah, at my local Jewel Osco, there's stuff there that's been there since I think like March.
Just gonna cough out their location. No.
Narragansett and Irving.
Yeah. Yep. Don't go there.
Don't buy Ryan guys.
Around that intersection.
Around that intersection, there might be a Jewel and a Burger King and Panda Kitchen. Very good Chinese food. So I like this beer. I wouldn't say I love it. I do like the idea of it being a coffee barley wine. I haven't had many coffee barley wines.
Since the goose one,
That's
I think.
true.
Oh, correct. Yeah. I think that's probably the last time I've had a coffee barley wine. I'm not sure why more breweries don't try and do a coffee barley wine. I don't know. Any guys have any thoughts on why that might be? Because I feel like the combination is, the coffee and the sweetness of a barley wine.
Well, I do feel like it's a good combination, but I feel like coffee is just such an incredibly difficult variant when you're using anything outside of a stout.
Sure, but I mean, it's been successful in like blondes and
Well,
IPAs.
and my thought process is like if you like coffee into an IPA or coffee, like if it can blend well and mesh with the hops, then it kind of works out. I feel like it's a hop contrast that like with a barley wine that may, and again, it's also the coffee that's used, like depending on what, if it's a dark roast, light roast, whatever the roast is, if it doesn't match the flavor profile of the hops, it's going to dominate.
Sure.
And I feel like it does in this a little bit.
I was going to say, speaking to barley wines in general, I feel like an American style barley wine, maybe with the hops being amped up a little bit, may not play as well. I feel like this does remind me more of like an English style. Like it's not,
Okay.
yeah, it's not as bitter. It's more caramelly smooth.
Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. About, the different styles of barley wines. Because I just love barley wines and I just love them all together.
So, what is the name of this? UHVAC?
I think it's just HVAC, isn't it?
No, maybe HVAC, yeah. Just looking at the thing. Well, because my next question was going to be like, Daniel, if you're going to pair this with an album.
Ooh.
Oh,
Put him on
boy.
the spot.
Put me on the
You
spot.
can't do that with every.
Something
But with
with,
it being an
uh,
after the final pour, I mean, you got it.
Oh, we can do anything.
I mean, I'd
right.
have to look something up. I'd probably go towards something about cool or air conditioning, something.
Okay, HVAC, all right, cool. Air conditioning.
Something about the summer.
Atmosphere,
Jazzy
maybe.
Jeff.
I was gonna say maybe what a cool Keith.
Cool Keith. Cool Keith is good. Cool kids.
Cool kids. There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
Episode.
Nope. I was going to say it. I wonder why they named it HVAC, but it's based on the ingredients. So, hazelnut.
I
boy.
Hazelnut, vanilla, and coffee.
Thank you.
Oh man, why
Another
weren't you on
ding,
that
ding,
one?
ding with
Woo. Clark, you should have been on that. Whew. You know what? I want to ask that. Dan, if you were walking down the street and someone came up to you and was like, "Hey man, you ever tried that HVAC beer before? You gotta choose 1 out of 5. 5, right? 1 out of 5.
Yes.
What would you give it?"
I think I would go. Do you guys do like quarters or what
Yes.
do you guys do?
Do whatever you
Oh, you can do whatever you'd like.
I'll do 3-2-5.
3, 2, 5.
Ooh.
Wait. See, on our scale, that's pretty low, but everyone has their own kind of,
Okay.
what do you call
I
it?
like it, though.
range.
Yeah.
I wouldn't drive there to get this, but if somebody had it, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well, all right, man. Good to see you again.
Yeah, and I think that's like the big thing that we talk about a lot is like we rate beers high a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like
4 is my average when I say
in the
something
last couple of months we've been trying to get more honest and like, whatever. And it's not about being honest, it's about being like realistic, very, like if you're comparing that against everything you've ever had. So
I feel like 4 to me is good. 3.75 means, yeah, it's pretty good.
yeah.
3.5 is like, this is decent. 3.25,
Solid
I'm
beer.
like, all right. 3 is like, it's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
On that score,
But that's the way that I
timeline,
judge it.
Yeah.
But I'd probably do a 3.75 on that then, because
Okay.
I feel like
I think that's
I just
where I
tasted
would-
it again. I
I
like
would do the same thing.
the mouth feels great. I like how you still get a little bit of the carb. The coffee's coming through, knock it a little bit because the hazelnut's not as prominent. But it's definitely a good beer and gets you everything it
But
says.
the guy
except
on the
for-
street is not going to tell you all that stuff.
true.
Yeah,
Change
Zach
your
Crack.
story.
Zach Brack, I wonder what... Zach Brack has never rated a beer himself, though.
Oh, we're going to have
That
to
guy's an
ask him
asshole.
sometime.
We'll see. Maybe. Well, on that note, do you guys have anything else you want to say about HVAC? From, is it Alt Beer?
Alter Brewing.
Alter Beer. Alter Brewing. Alter
Again, really neat spot. Huge garage door. It was a beautiful fall day. So
That's in Downers Grove.
Downers
Sorry,
Grove.
I don't know why that was so funny. Beautiful spot. Huge
saying.
garage door.
I had about
End of
15
review.
minutes waiting
End of
for some tacos at the place next, not next door, but down the street. So I thought, I'll sit down and have a few.
Was it a Taco Diablo?
No, it wasn't. But I did have a beer they named after Back to the Future, so I, of course I had to have that.
What was it called?
Oh boy, this is a lot.
While he's looking this up, I will tell you that the logo, every time I see the logo, it reminds me of one of those words that you like, it says something one way and then you flip it upside down and it says something else.
Bach from the Fader?
Oh,
How do you-
Fooder.
How do you know? How, as in a Back to the Future beer, you wouldn't remember that? Bach
Sorry,
to the photo.
it was like a month and a half
Fooder.
ago.
Sorry, Dan. Jesus. All right. Well, anyways, we're gonna wrap this up because we're done. Oh, Pat's here. Great. All right. Well, you guys, that's it for this. After the Final Four. Brandon, I love you, man.
Love you too.
Dan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Clark, maybe we'll be back on another one.
We'll see. A couple months from now.
Pat, welcome to the show. That's it.
This has been The Malting Hour. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching The Malting Hour and at themaltinghour.com. You can also follow us on social media platforms individually. Brandon can be found on Instagram as BMDub81, on Twitter, BDub81, on Untapped, BDub Drinks Beer. Tony can be found on Instagram and Untapped under Asa Phelps Chicago, on Twitter, The Asa Phelps Chicago. Clark can be found as Clarkowski on all three. Be sure to subscribe, like, and rate the show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Until next time, cheers from all of us at The Malting Hour.